Thank you, everyone, for joining this evening's session talking about using your study abroad experience in your common application. Format for tonight is going to be probably pretty similar to a lot of the other Global Navigator virtual fair sessions that you have been attending this week. We're going to go through some of this content, and then I do want to make sure that we leave plenty of the time at the end if you have any questions. We are going to be using the question and answer tool right here in Zoom. So if you have any questions as I'm going through this content tonight, please go ahead and throw those into the Q&A tool, and I will be happy to answer any of those questions at the end of the session. So really, here's quick agenda of what we're going to be talking about this evening, talking just a little bit about the team, CIEE, even though you're all very familiar with CIEE as program alumni. And then we're going to be talking about really the meat of it. How do you utilize your previous study abroad experience in your college application process? We'll talk a little bit about the benefits of the gap year and college first year abroad programs as you are weighing all of your different college options. And then, like I mentioned, leaving plenty of time at the end for questions. So, really quickly, who am I? My name is Lisa Chesney Leek. I serve as the director of our college first year abroad programs. But prior to coming to CIEE a little over 3 years ago, I have spent my entire career working in higher education. I previously worked at many different colleges and universities. I am a former college registrar. I have worked in admissions and enrollment management at many different universities all across the country. So, though I work at CIEE now, I have spent many years of my career working in college admissions and being the person that is reviewing all of those thousands of applications that are coming into colleges and universities for first year and transfer student enrollment. So, I'm going to approach tonight's conversation really from both angles of both previously serving as a college and university admissions officer, as well as a CIEE staff member knowledgeable in your study abroad experiences. So that's a little bit about me and kind of how I am approaching our session this evening. So, really, goal for tonight is you studied abroad already. Now what? I think there are multiple different ways that you probably all know about how you can apply to college. And when we talk a lot about Common App is probably the most popular platform right now for students like yourself in high school to apply to colleges and universities all across the US. But by no means is Common App and the Common App platform the only way to apply to colleges. There are institution specific applications on every college or university's website. There's other systems called, maybe you've heard of Coalition, the Coalition application, the Universal College application, SCORE, or even QuestBridge. There are a lot of platforms and systems out there for how you can apply to college. So, though we're going to talk specifically about the sections in Common App, just keep that in the back of your mind that what we're talking about is also going to be applicable to any of those other college application systems and platforms. So, even though we're talking about Common App, what we're saying is still going to help you in any of those other application systems. So, really, there are multiple different places in Common App for you to include that study abroad experience. And we're going to dive into each of them in a little bit more detail, but really thinking through that those are your activity list, your education section, thinking through all of your different essays. There's personal essays, there's supplemental essays, and then you also have letters of recommendation as you are going through your application. So, there's a variety of different places that you can include your previous study abroad experience. And I'm going to give you kind of some tips and tricks of, as someone who has read her fair share of thousands of different college applications and essays, of some best practices for how you can do that. So, the first section I want to talk about in Common App is the activities list. So, in Common App, you can include up to 10 different activities in this section of your application. You should include the activities that you have spent the most amount of time with, the activities that you hold leadership positions in. So if you have, let's say, 10 activities that you're holding leadership positions in, maybe this activity section isn't the place for you specifically to include your previous study abroad experience. If you have space, you definitely want to go ahead and include that study abroad experience. And you can see kind of some suggestions on the slide right now. We want to make sure that you're highlighting any specific projects or assignments that you completed from your program, as well as any of those cultural activities, meaning making, discussion, learning moments. Also, we're giving you some tips as well for including, when you're asked how long, what was the participation level, timing, hours. We've done some of the math summer abroad program. So in our high school summer abroad programs, you spent approximately 168 hours per week in that program, whether you did a 3 or 4 week program. I also always suggest that you say yes of I intend to participate in a similar activity in college. There is no harm in saying yes, especially if you are considering wanting to study abroad again in college. So definitely say yes to that. The activity list gives you a limited amount of space to really describe the activity and to describe your time that you spent studying abroad. You get 150 characters to do that. So that is not much space. So you do want to be really strategic about what you are highlighting. I think a lot of times writing this description for the activity, it's going to take a lot of drafts for getting the message across about what you want to include. Really think about what are those key words that really sum up your specific study abroad experience, and then make sure that you are getting across and conveying all of those keywords and key thoughts when you are really honing in, and I'm going to say wordsmithing, that specific description, knowing that you really only get 150 characters. So, activity list is the first option of where you can include your previous study abroad experience in Common App. The second place for you to think about including your previous study abroad experience is right in the education section. And I definitely encourage you to do this if you opted into receiving college credit for a language and culture-based program. You should definitely include this in the education section that you took one, that you were enrolled at Tulane University for the one course for the summer program. This is also, once again, in that application when application readers are going through. You'll also need to submit that transcript from Tulane University to with your college application highlighting that, but including your study abroad experience in the education section also just brings awareness to that you were studying abroad for an academic driven program. You weren't just doing a international field trip or doing some personal travel during the summer. Your study abroad experience had academic components to it, and you were able to earn college credit for that if you did that language and culture based program. So, education section is another place. The education section gives you less space to really describe what you were doing. That will need to come in another section, but you are able to bring attention to that academic based component that you have that previously earned credit from your study abroad experience. Another great place to consider including and highlighting your study abroad experience is actually in your letters of recommendation. And though letters of recommendation are not something that you are going to be writing yourself, this is something that you can think about in who you are asking to write your specific letters of recommendation. Generally, for Common App, you need two letters of recommendation. Rough suggestions are generally to ask a high school teacher or personal mentor coach who knows you in more of the kind of humanities liberal arts setting, and another teacher who knows you in more of a STEM field. That, once again, just in my years working in admissions, helps give the admissions office really a perspective of your well-roundedness as a student from both a liberal arts perspective as well as a STEM related perspective as well, knowing that students have different strengths. On Common App, yes, you'll have those two required letters of recommendation, but you also have the option for other recommender. And this is a really great place if you formed a great relationship with your professor or even your program leader from your high school summer abroad program, especially if you did a topics-based program. This is a great person if you built that personal relationship to request that letter of recommendation from. They are able to speak to your skills and your ability and even your growth from the start of the program to the end of the program of what they saw. That is a really great recommendation from the college admissions perspective to see and get some direct feedback on how you've grown in terms of maturity and your independent skills, critical thinking, your global mindedness in terms of gaining some of those global competencies from your overall study abroad experience. So, really consider who to strategically ask for that other recommender. It's not required in Common App, it's not required in some of the other application systems as well. But once again, it is another place that you are able to highlight your study abroad experience and start setting yourself apart from a lot of those other applicants for that college or university admission. And then lastly, kind of the final place that we recommend really considering including your study abroad experience is probably the one that you have been thinking about the most. That is your essays. So, Common App has a personal essay that is required. The personal essay questions are standardized for Common App across any college or university that you are applying for. You need to respond to one of Common App's personal essay questions. All of the questions for this current admission cycle are in the green box on your screen right now. And these questions, interesting thing to note as well, these questions are actually the exact same from the previous year. So Common App is getting to a place where the questions are becoming a little bit more standardized. So if you are, let's say, a high school sophomore or a high school junior, the personal essay questions for your year of applying might not be exact wording as they are on your screen right now, but there's a really good chance they are going to be very, very close to this. And if you're reading through these questions, you are going to be able to utilize study abroad experience and study abroad examples to answer any of these questions, depending on how you phrase your remarks. Biggest tip that I give to any student that asks me about, okay, writing college application essays, what does it all mean? I always say, don't throw every single vocabulary word that you learned for the SATs into your essay. As the reader, we're going to know that you're just trying to throw in your vocabulary lesson. What we want is substance. So it's not even about the word count. It's not that you gave us exactly 650 perfectly selected words in your essay. Are you telling us about you? Are you telling us about your interests, your goals for your college experience, and how you think the college setting and your college plans are going to set you up for success in the future? So it really always keep that in mind. It's about substance and not word count. Generally speaking, the ideal length for a common application personal essay, if I have to give it a number, I'm going to say it's probably in that 500 to 650 words. So in the upper end of that. But once again, it's not about the specific word count. It's about telling us about yourself, painting a picture, and giving us substance so that we, as the application reader, can get a little bit more insight into who you are. And then, as the reader for that specific institution, to see how you connect or would really excel at our specific college or university. So, the Common App, automatically, you have 7 choices that you are going to pick from. I really suggest actually that you write a couple different essays. Maybe start writing a response to a couple of these different questions that resonate with you. A lot of responses to these questions can be edited or altered for one question to the other. So start drafting your essay and your response. And maybe as you're drafting that essay response, you're realizing that you're wanting to highlight something about yourself, about your previous experience, about your passions and your goals for college education that maybe actually better align to one of the other seven questions from Common App. So don't necessarily pigeonhole yourself that you can only speak and only address this one question. I also get asked very frequently, well, what's the best question to answer? Out of the seven, which one is the best question that's going to help me stand out? I'm going to be really honest, there isn't one. It's not necessarily about the question that you are picking to respond to. It's about the story that you are telling and the insight that you are giving that admissions office about you as a student and about you as a learner. And I mean learner in very much the global perspective. Yes, classroom learning is very, very important of what you're learning in your specific high school classes, but what else are you learning in your day-to-day life? Maybe there's learning that is coming from a job that you're holding or a specific activity or student organization that you're a part of. Maybe it's learning that came from a really specific study abroad experience. So you can see how your study abroad experience can really fold into highlighting how you are learning, how you excel as a learner, and also how you prioritize your learning and growth throughout your high school journey and how you plan to continue that into the college space and beyond. So, with the essays for Common App, you're only going to answer and submit one personal essay. So, keep that in mind. It might be a CIEE experience that best answers that question for you. It might not be. Another thing to remember when you're submitting your overall college application is every section is giving you an opportunity to highlight something different and unique about yourself. So you don't need to keep highlighting and listing the exact same activities in every single section. Each section is actually designed to help you highlight something different, new, or unique about yourself. Sometimes there is a place for that's very justifiable for you to be able to repeat yourself, but just keep that in mind as well. When you're thinking about your overall essay topic, is it highlighting and bringing to light something new and different about you that otherwise wouldn't be highlighted in a different section of your application? There is kind of a secondary piece when we're talking about essays for college applications as well. And this is a supplemental essay. So, a supplemental essay isn't a specific piece for Common App. The supplemental essay is something specific for each college or university that you are applying to. So these are unique questions written specifically by the college or university that you're applying to, and you are going to provide an essay response to that college's question through the Common App platform. So you're going to write an essay for a standard Common App question, the question's in green, and most likely you are going to have to write at least one supplemental essay. Some colleges and universities have multiple supplemental essays that they would like you to write. So just keep that in mind. Supplemental essays are another place for you to be able to highlight that study abroad experience if that is your best experience and your best reflection to highlight and address the question that the university is asking. So, some of the questions, like I mentioned, these are specific and unique to each college or university. Some that we've seen too that I always like to highlight is one of them being, tell me about a time you learned something about something for the sake of learning and not just a grade. Thinking and reflecting on your study abroad experience could be a great way to answer that question of whether you were earning a grade or not, thinking about all of your outside the classroom learning. Did you live with a host family? Did you live with another student for the first time that you were even just having to share a space? Did you have a cultural exchange that made you even think about kind of your own upbringing in your own hometown in a different way? Other question that I like as well is one of our school's founding principles is cross-cultural appreciation. Tell us about a time you learned about a culture different than your own, and how did you show appreciation for that culture? Right there, your study abroad experience is a great way to address that question. Thinking about all of the different cultural experiences that you had, if that was living with a host family, if that was um, engaging with a new language, if it was even just engaging with let's say a local merchant on the street or at the local market of something that you learned, or maybe how you pushed your boundaries outside of maybe an uncomfortable situation for you to gain some new understanding of both yourself and the world as a whole. So essays are a great way for you to also highlight those study abroad experiences. Once again, you don't want to keep telling the same story over and over again, but really thinking about your whole high school experience and your entire academic journey up until this point. What would you use to answer one of those Common App personal essay questions? And then also start thinking about some of those topics for those potential supplemental essays as well. And then, just in general, some tips that I have just for writing overall college essays. Tell us a story. College admissions officers read hundreds, if not thousands, of essays every single admissions year. You will be surprised how many of them start to sound the same after a while. How you start setting yourself apart is using those sensory details. Show us, don't tell us. Paint a picture that we are following what you are experiencing, what you are learning, what you did in that. Balance both kind of the scene and the experience with your own exposition and reflection on that you need to provide both context and meaning making. Think through kind of intellectual curiosity. Don't only focus on the specific events, facts, order of operations. Also, make sure that you are including that reflection piece. What did you learn? What did you gain? Also, for college admissions, how do you want to relate that to your college experience? Is this something that you would want to continue to do in the future? How would you do that? And how would you hope to bring those benefits to that college or university campus? We talked a little bit about word count before of what that could look like, that you do have, limited word count in that. So you do want to use your words selectively, that you're not just trying to throw out all of your very impressive SAT, ACT vocabulary words. And also keeping in mind too that this is an essay to get into college, not necessarily your memoir or autobiography up until this point in your life. That when you are writing through your essays, make sure that you keep referring back to that essay prompt and to that essay question. Make sure that you are addressing the components and questions that were asked. Um, I think it is very easy sometimes to go down a very reflective, self reflective rabbit hole when you're writing some of these essays. Make sure that you are bringing it back to the prompt and to that essay question. And sometimes that does mean writing multiple essays. And that doesn't mean that you're going to submit all of them, because with Common App, you can actually only submit one of them. But the more essays you write and the more versions and drafts that you write, the clearer and the more succinct you are going to hone in on your ultimate message of what you are trying to address. So I always encourage students, don't rush writing your essays. Give yourself time to think, reflect, draft, revise. There is nothing worse than being the reader for an essay that you know a student sat down and wrote in 10 minutes and didn't even proofread. Make sure that you are giving yourself time with deadlines and all of your other competing priorities in high school to give your essay some time and some reflection. Write it, put it down for a day or two, come back to it. Is it still resonating with you? Is it still delivering the message that you are trying to get across to that college admissions officer and that college selection committee? So this is all across the board, whether it's Common App, whether it's an institutional app, the entire college application process is about trying to tell the admissions team about yourself. In a way, you are doing an interview on paper. You are telling about your previous accomplishments. You are highlighting your personal goals. You are also giving insight into everything that you are looking to do in the future. You don't want to keep repeating yourself and using the exact same example in every single one of those application sections. So, really be strategic in thinking through. And sometimes this means just starting with a list. Starting with just a blank document or even a simple, blank piece of paper and a pen. Sit down and write. What are the most important things about yourself, about your previous academic journey, and about you as a person that you want to make sure you get across to that college admissions team? Keeping that list as a guideline to yourself as you're filling out your college applications is a great kind of litmus test for yourself as you're going through. Am I making sure that I am highlighting my passion for travel and language learning? Okay, I'm including that in my activities section, and there's a reflection over here in one of the supplemental essay questions. I am really uh, passionate about social justice. Oh, my activity list is really going to highlight that with all of the different clubs and organizations that I'm involved in. So keeping that overarching list for yourself as a little bit of your guiding pathway through submitting your application is really going to help kind of keep you focused on what it is that you're trying to say about yourself, and to also keep yourself in check that you're not utilizing the exact same examples or activities or experiences in every single one of the sections of those applications. So, we've talked a lot about the college application process, about Common App, about those different sections, your previous study abroad experiences. And now I want to take a couple minutes just to highlight for those of you that haven't heard about some of the additional study abroad opportunities available to you before you start in that on-campus college experience. You may have heard already a little bit about some of the college first year abroad programs, our gap year abroad program, as well as potentially even doing another high school summer or semester abroad program. There are lots of opportunities still available to you as a student to help you experience more of the world and use those experiences and those learning opportunities to really help you decide and feel confident in what it is that you're looking to study and do and gain from your overall college experience. So, really quickly, the Gap Year Abroad program, it has a wide portfolio. There are 16 different cities all across the world for you to have a gap year experience. And traditionally speaking, gap year abroad programs do not have college credit associated with it. And why I said typically, because we're going to get into that in just a little bit about that. There's a little bit of an exception to that. But gap year programs are designed to really help you get experiential learning in that time period between high school and college to help you gain some of the maturity, to help you really decide and feel confident in what your post high school plans are. CIEE's Gap Year Abroad program, there's three different themes to our programs. We have an internship and culture program, we have a language and culture program, and we also have travel and culture programs. So there's three different varieties for the Gap Year Abroad programs. First one I want to highlight is the internship and culture program. So this is a 12-week internship over the course of 3 months. There's a variety of different cities all across the country. Typically speaking, your internship is going to be about 15 to 20 hours each week. Included in the program is your placement with that local international company. So you're not having to go out and search for these internships all on your own. This is something that CIEE is doing for you and helping you identify that placement and then supporting you in that process as well. Your housing is included in this program, as well as participation in cultural activities and excursions with all of the other CIEE students on program in that location. And where I mentioned before, traditionally speaking, gap year programs don't have college credit. With CIEE's gap year abroad programs, you do have the option of earning some online course credit through Arizona State University. So CIEE has a very strong relationship with ASU Online, where if you are interested in taking one or two asynchronous courses online, fully online during your Gap Year Abroad program, you are able to do that directly with ASU. So if you are interested in having this internship, but also on your own self-paced asynchronous, taking one or two courses through ASU Online, that is available through CIEE's Gap Year Abroad programs. The second type of GAP program is the GAP Language and Culture programs. Once again, this is a 12-week program. It is a full immersion experience into the local language and culture, variety of different cities and languages. And the big thing I always like to highlight with the language and culture programs as well is that language placement is based off of your current proficiency. That we have students who do a GAP language and culture program every year who are beginners in that language. So you don't need to have any previous language learning experience for some of the language and culture programs that you are able to start as a beginner. Something special and unique to the language and culture program is that you are going to live with a local host family because that is part of the full immersive experience to help you in that language learning, to really become a member of the local city, the local community. And once again, you do have that option for the online ASU courses if you are interested. And then the third option for a GAP program is the GAP Travel and Culture programs. Once again, 12 weeks in length. There are, over the course of the travel and culture programs, you will be introduced to three different European cities, really helping you compare the history, culture, food, lifestyle, fashion of all of these different cities. There are four kind of different pathways for the travel and culture program, one of them being three cities in France, three cities in Italy, three cities in Spain, or three cities across three different countries in Europe. You're going to be spending 4 weeks in each of these cities with a small cohort of your peers as you travel together. You're going to be attending carefully selected lectures, cultural activities, excursions, and you will be with a dedicated program leader to help you in some of the reflection of identifying some of these comparative differences in the history, art, and culture of the different cities that you are experiencing. With this program as well, for part of it, you're going to live with a local host family to help you understand some of the differences that families have in living in different countries. And then you also, once again, have the option of those online ASU courses. So the other option, we talked a lot about GAP and about some of those non-credit based option. For those of you that are interested in starting to earn full-time college credit immediately following high school graduation, but maybe you're not ready to fully commit to that on-campus experience, college first year abroad is a great way to do that, that you can actually spend your first semester or full year of college in one or two of the 11 wonderful cities and locations all around the world. While you are abroad, you are a college student. You are taking your first semester or first year of college courses. While you're abroad, you are going to be taking 12 to 14 credits each semester. These credits are broken into, once again, it's a 12-week program length, it's a 12-week semester. This semester is broken into two 6-week blocks. So these 6-week academic blocks allow you to focus on only two, maybe three courses at a time, that you're able to give more kind of detailed focus to those academic disciplines to really help you get really strong grades in your first semester or GPA so that you are starting your college experience with ideally that 4.0 GPA. College first year abroad, you are taking a lot of the standard first year college courses. So a lot of first and second year courses, really those 100, 200 level courses. The credits are designed to be highly transferable because they are all transcripted by Tulane University. So Tulane University is CIEE's college study school of record. So you'll earn a Tulane University transcript. Tulane's a top ranked national university. So that transcript will carry a lot of weight when you are applying to on campus colleges to transfer that credit. Once again, with first year abroad, you do have the option of also taking online ASU courses asynchronously throughout your program. Your program includes student housing, all of the different cultural activities and study tours. And then as you're returning to the US, you are coming back an experienced college student with a college GPA, with college credits to really be able to hit the ground running when you're starting on campus at your college or university. So, in terms of eligibility for both the gap year abroad and the college first year abroad programs, for some locations, you must be 18 years old at the start of the program. Students who are 17 years old can participate in gap year abroad and college first year abroad in select locations. For gap year abroad, you should be doing your gap year program no more than 1 year after your high school graduation. You should not be actively enrolled in a college or university. And as I highlighted before, no previous language experience is required. For college first year abroad, you should be starting your college first year abroad no more than 18 months after your high school graduation. And you also should not have completed more than one semester of college. So if you've completed one semester of college, but you haven't gone on and started that second semester yet, you are still a first year student and eligible to do college first year abroad. And then we are also for college first year abroad looking for that 2.5 high school GPA. And for both gap year and college first year abroad, the application process is streamlined, probably very similar to what you completed for your high school summer or high school semester abroad programs. We're going to get some information from you. We're going to get some health information and then some operational information. We're going to need your high school transcript. We're going to need your passport information. And for both the gap year abroad and the college first year abroad programs, you have the option of doing just one semester or a full academic year. If you do think you want to do a full academic year, the earlier you start in that academic year application and that planning process, the better. Just because of some visa and immigration issues, it's better for our team to know your interest in doing an academic year program right from the get-go. And in terms of program costs, the programs for gap year abroad and college first year abroad are drastically less than the average out of state tuition right now for US colleges. So, especially for college first year abroad, it is a very, very affordable way for you to start that college experience, earn those credits, but also gain some of the benefits of living and experiencing another country and culture as you're starting your college journey. What's included in program fees? So, all of your core program learning components are going to be included in that program fee, whether that be your academic tuition for college first year abroad or your language school enrollment fee if you're doing a gap language and culture programs, different cultural activities, overnight excursions, study tours, all of those are built right into the program fee, as well as your housing and the full support of the CIEE on-center in-country staff with you. You also will receive the benefits of the online pre-departure and in-person orientation for both GAP and college first year abroad programs. Your international travel insurance is included, as well as just even that airport greeting and that pickup to help get you connected when maybe you're getting off that plane just a little bit jet lagged, to help you have that best start for your program in country. Application deadlines for both of these programs. We do have an early deadline and then a fall final deadline for both our fall and our spring semester program. So there is still time to apply if you are a current high school senior, still lots of time to apply for a fall 2026 program. And for those of you that are maybe more in, that sophomore or junior year, good deadlines just for you to note in future years as you're planning your overall application process to know what those options are. So, I know I've covered a whole lot of information for all of you this evening. What I would like to do now is really open it up to any questions that you might have, whether that be about the overall college application process and how you can include your study abroad experience in those college applications, or even any questions that you have about the gap year abroad or college first year abroad programs. Feel free to go ahead and throw any of those questions right into the question and answer tool right in Zoom, and I'll be happy to answer some of those. Give you all a minute to go ahead and type those questions in. Well, I am not seeing, question just came in. That's what always happens. As soon as I were to get ready to wrap up, a question comes in. So, great question that is coming in. If I were to go on a high school study abroad, would I be able to do the gap year? Yes. So, the Gap Year Abroad program is designed for students to do following high school. So, the high school study abroad programs, whether that be the high school summer abroad or the high school semester abroad programs, are designed for you to do before you graduate high school. So they are designed before you start kind of any of those college experiences. Those are being done prior to that graduation point, and gap year abroad and college first year abroad are designed for you to do following that high school graduation. So it is very, very possible for you to be able to do both a high school study abroad program followed by either a gap or a first year abroad program in a future semester. And some of the benefits that you would have as an alumni is that you would have automatically an alumni discount for that future program. So you would automatically, as a CIEE alumni, would get a discount on a future gap year abroad or college first year abroad program. Great question. Another question came in. So, would you say studying abroad increases your chances of getting into top colleges? I'm going to give you my lawyer answer here. Yes and no. So we know really only about 2% of US high school students study abroad in high school. So that you have all studied abroad in high school is already setting yourselves apart in that overall application pool. Is your study abroad experience when reviewing applications going to be the sole determining factor for you being accepted or not in a top college? No. It's going to be a holistic review, and you're going to hear this holistic review kind of term come up a lot with US colleges and universities. And really, what that means is colleges and universities, when they're making their admissions decision, are looking at a variety of different factors. It's not simply just looking at your high school GPA. Okay, you have a 3.8 or above. Boom, this section admit, this section deny. That is not the case. That is not how it's done. Because colleges also want to take many factors into consideration. What are your driving motivations for what you're interested in studying? What are the previous experiences that you're going to be bringing to our overall campus community? So that's where highlighting your study abroad experience is going to start setting yourself apart from some of those peers, knowing that only 2% of high school students are studying abroad. If you are able to reflect on that study abroad experience and highlight how that has impacted you as a learner, how you're going to bring those skills and those lessons learned from your study abroad experience to that specific college or university campus. That's where it can help you in that admissions process because you are painting that picture of your self-reflective learning from your overall international experience. So you're getting a yes and no. Studying abroad is going to start setting yourselves apart, but it won't be the sole determining factor of getting yourself admitted to a top college or university. You need to be reflective on that experience as well. Let's see. Good question here. Ok, so I mentioned previously that I used to work in college admissions. That is the case. I'm a former college admissions officer. They are asking if a good college essay is to show is to be genuine and show your qualities related to schoolwork and your passions. Yes. My favorite application and admissions essays that I read are telling me a story. You are painting me a picture of an experience that you have had in your life. That experience could come from a school, from a high school experience, maybe a class that you took in high school. Maybe it's a specific um, student organization experience that you had. Maybe it's study abroad. Maybe it's a community-based experience. Maybe it's something from your part-time job that came about. So it doesn't necessarily need to be 100% academic focused in your overall essay response. Paint me a picture, tell me something about yourself, and tell me something about yourself that is going to help me understand how you would thrive on our specific college or university campus. What are the skills that you're coming in with? Demonstrate some maturity, some independence, critical thinking skills. How are you resilient in overcoming challenges and obstacles? Tell me and paint that picture for me and how you have overcome and encountered all of that previously in one of your learning experiences inside or outside the classroom learning. And then also, how does that connect to your overall passion for future learning, growth, and development that you would like to experience in your college and university setting? So I think it is good essays are painting a picture and giving some insight into previous experiences that you've had already in your lives through high school, but then also helping that college admissions officer understand how that connects to your future goals as well, and how some of those experiences have maybe impacted what you are looking to do both in your college experience as well as future career goals as well. Great questions. Another good question is painting a picture in essays hard, and would you be overshadowed by someone else's? I think actually painting the picture is what sets you apart because your picture is not going to be completely similar to another student's picture. I think sometimes, and why I say painting the picture, because sometimes that's giving some, maybe one or two really unique details. Those unique details are what's going to kind of set your essay apart and helping it really stand out. If you're only speaking in really general terms and really general examples, that's where your essay is going to sound very similar to a lot of the other applicant essays out there. Giving some form of a specific detail or nuance, and thinking of your study abroad experience as well. Maybe there was a really specific cultural interaction, that there was something that you thinking of your senses, you saw, you tasted, you smelled, and how that resonated with you. Painting that picture and giving some of these details are what is going to set your essay apart as someone who sat there and had to read 150 essays in one day. If you gave me something that's going to be really memorable to me, I'm going to remember your essay versus all of the other essays that I always jokingly say, talked about the state basketball tournament and hitting that buzzer beater to win the state championship. That's probably a little bit of a dated reference there, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. The more specific you can be about your specific learning example and what your experience was, that is actually going to be what sets your essay apart and keeps it from blending in with all of your other applicants. Oh, good question. So if I graduate high school early with about 30 college credits, would I still be eligible for the college first year abroad program? Yes. So if you earned those college credits prior to high school graduation, like if you're earning those 30 credits through um, either a jump program or some form of a dual enrollment program that was part of your high school, that does not exclude you from being eligible for college first year abroad. It is one semester of college study post high school graduation, which is the eligibility requirement. So if you would be coming with 30 credits, even directly out of high school following high school graduation, you are still eligible to do college first year abroad. And actually, you could potentially even be coming in with some of the prerequisites that you would be able to take some of the more 200 or 300 level courses through some of our more advanced academic disciplines from there. So earning college credit during high school through dual enrollment programs does not eliminate you from being eligible for college first year abroad. Let's see. Any other questions? Well, I know we are coming up on time. Oh, another. Okay, we have time for a couple more. For the college first year abroad program, are the programs the same or are there more programs available? So, for college first year abroad, there are 11 different locations for college first year abroad, and every location is unique in terms of the cultural elements, the language learning courses. But overall, the college first year abroad curriculum and the courses that you would be eligible to register for college first year abroad are somewhat standardized across all of those different 11 locations. Every single one of the college first year abroad locations is going to offer your introductory English composition course because that is a very standard first semester, first year student requirement for college learning. We're going to have history classes, we're going to have lab science courses, math courses. So all of the course offerings in those locations are the same for the standard college first year abroad core courses. Where you have some variety in kind of, we'll call it local flavor for some of the academics is in some of our more 200 or 300 level cultural courses. And for some of those courses, you do need to have some prerequisites. Some of those courses don't have prerequisites, where even as a first semester, first time college student, you would still be able to engage in those. But the academics for the core are standardized across the 11 different locations. Some differences are going to come in your cultural experience, in the study tours, the excursions, the language learning, the housing. So even though all of the 11 locations are offering the same college first year abroad core courses, your experience would be very different in Kyoto, Japan, than it would be in Madrid, Spain, just based off of the city that you are living in and those different cultural experiences that you are engaging outside of the classroom learning. So some similarities and some differences all across the programs. And the same is true, I would say, also for the GAP programs, that there are similarities and differences. There will always be that cultural element, which will make every program location unique in of its own right. Let's see. Another question. Okay, for the gap year program, is it the same application for the summer program or is it more difficult? Good question. I will definitely say it's not difficult. The applications for both the gap year abroad programs and the college first year abroad programs are designed to be as simple as they possibly can. A lot of the content that you will need to include in those applications are very similar to some of the things that you would need to know or have as you're completing college applications of, your guidance counselor, your school counselor's name, their email address, emergency contact information, your high school transcript. A lot of that information will be exactly the same. And for some of the high school summer abroad programs, if you did the full scholarship application with that, I will say I think even the gap year application is going to be shorter than potentially the full high school summer abroad application process. So, um, I think short answer to that is no. I think actually the gap year application could even be slightly easier, and slightly shorter than the high school summer applications. All right. Well, I know we are coming up on our time for the end of tonight. I just want to thank you all so much for joining us for this evening session. Hopefully, you have enjoyed CIEE's Global Navigator Virtual Fair this week and all of the different sessions that have been presented of helping you really utilize your previous study abroad experience and start thinking about maybe how you can study abroad again and use those experiences in your college search process and those college applications. If you have any questions after we get off tonight's session, please do not hesitate to reach out to the CIEE team. Our contact information is right on your screen right now. Please don't hesitate to send us an email, give us a phone call during our office hours. We would be happy to connect with you, answer any of your questions, whether that be about how you can study abroad again through potentially maybe another high school program or the gap year abroad or college first year abroad programs. And hopefully you will join us in some of our upcoming workshops as well as we dive into more of the college admissions access series and work over the next few months through the process. But thank you all so much for joining us tonight, and hopefully we'll be in touch soon. So thank you all so much.